They're prone to dealing with emotions, I believe. They can deal with it a lot easier.
Say it louder. They're prone to deal with what?
They're prone to deal with emotions a lot easier than we are. The slight image of our girl in our head, the slight image of that in our head with another man, it creates anger, and men is built with angry emotions. We're ready. It makes us show aggression, whereas a woman can feel the sorrow of a man and feel to forgive the boy first, just because more than likely this was my boy before it was my girl. So me and him have a past, and to be honest, like in order for me to solve the whole issue, it's gonna have to start with him and solving that issue, because I wouldn't be able to forgive her without knowing that there's no passion or compassion between them two from him. That's tough. That being my boy, meaning that I'm gonna be in touch with this guy and have to remember that every time. I don't know if I could truly forgive her.
Bill, you already know he gonna cut off the girl. He gonna cut off the girl because you know what I'm saying? Oh, that, and plus he ain't gonna cut off his homie. You know what I'm saying? For being a homie. He ain't gonna cut off his dude for being a dude. You know what I'm saying? He knows how it is to be a guy. You know what I'm saying? Girls don't know how it is to be guys. You know what I'm saying?
Sadly, I do.
You do? You know what I'm saying, for real?
I think so, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I ain't saying everything's gonna be the same with the friend, but I don't think she's gonna want to lose her friend, her best friend, over a girl. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter how much he loves the girl, I'll never cut off a best friend for my girl.
But a woman would cut off her best friend for the man.
Right, but not because the man asked her to.
Right.
Just because that's how she really don't. Maybe it's just girls. That's my explanation for everything. It's girls. That's how y'all minds work. I don't know. God.
They say women are tender, but I believe men are probably more tender than a woman. A man, it would be difficult for him to forgive fidelity. And I'll tell you why. A woman will, to an extent. You know, they may forgive it, they will not forget it.
Okay.
But a man drags a bad feeling or a bad situation through time with him. It's as real the day it happened. Man, you probably sitting there still 10 years later when he's talking about it, he gets just as upset. We'll never confide in another man that a woman did that.
Okay.
So they're on their own to start with.
Okay.
Okay, whereas a woman will go to her girlfriend and say, or mom or sister, so this happened, and then get some input, and maybe get some understanding. But if you go out and say, my wife cheated on me, they're going to say, screw her, why don't you take off? You know, you don't have to put up with it.
Let's see. Well, I'll answer the first question first. I would say that I think a woman is probably going to be more forgiving than a man. With a man and a woman, it's different. A man has the drive, just like any other, animal being, whatever out there. It's just the man that's usually the aggressor. The male is usually the aggressor. The male's out looking all the time. Okay. If you look at other species, other things, it's pretty much the same thing. It's always the male out looking. I think the female, most females probably accept a certain degree of that, and they know that a man is probably out doing certain things or looking. It depends. I think with a woman, most women will draw the line is, does my husband or my boyfriend love that person, or is this just something we saw, I'm going to use it, conquer it, but he got it and he moved on and it meant nothing to him. I look at it as, for me, it's for a loyalty issue. It's a little bit different because to me, a woman doesn't have the same drive as a man has. Okay. So and maybe that's sexist, I don't know, but I'm just saying I don't think the drives are the same. So for a woman to do these things, a woman, it's kind of different. A man will have sex to have sex.
Right.
Most women are going to have sex because there's an emotional attachment. I would probably just write both of those people out because I think that there's probably, at that particular point, whatever has gotten that person to that point is going to be not going to be able to come back. It's not going to be repaired.
With different levels of respect that we both have. One thing is a man's pride won't allow him to keep that woman. But in reality, the relationship between him and that close male friend would never be the same either. It'd just be a front, so to speak, out of pride to show that he really doesn't care. But in reality, he's hurt by the friend just as much as he is by the wife. But he, just out of the male ego, he just want to allow him to take that out on the male, because most men realize that it's a slip in his own game if he get got. They're both equally at fault, but I think I would still hold. Nope, they're equally.
Women cheat, men cheat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But men always been cheating.
Not the same. The reason why it's not the same is because now they have to think about it, but you always have to think about it. Now I'm gonna tell you the real reason why it's different. The real difference is because the physicality of it. Okay? This is the anatomy, whatever you want to call it, the physicality of it.
That's so
okay,
true.
some guy
Inside.
was inside your woman. This is what y'all don't realize. When we have that mental picture, you know what I'm saying? Somebody else is
He
it's
just broke
different.
down what I was saying.
There's a pole and there's a hole.
It's a different.
And your hole gets it's a wrap.
I say this all the time. The first worst thing that can happen to a man is his mama dying. The second worst thing is the visual of another man in his woman.
That scenario, I feel that scenario, but if my best friend come to me and say, "Yo, I just knocked off your girl," I would look at it as good looking out.
Right.
Number 4 is the relationship with the female a wrap.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what the real question is.
No, I'm saying
the relationship with the females.
I think it's a code. It's an unwritten code. Like, you know what I'm saying, that everybody should follow, and everybody knows it because it's unwritten. If your friend has sex with your girl, she can't be your girl no more, and he shouldn't be considered your friend. That's what a friend is.
We is all different species. Male and female are two totally different species. I guess y'all think with the right side of y'all brain is with the emotions. We think with the left side. But hey, like I said, I want to hold my friend up. Come later, he ain't right girl up her leg.
If you're my best friend, that means you know more about me than the average person do, and obviously then you may know how much I care about the particular woman I'm with. So for you to do that, there's no excuse. And the bros over hoes thing, just because they rhyme don't make it make sense. I'm against that, so screw that.
Okay.
So
They're
I'll
both
be done
done.
with both of them. Yeah.
Okay. And who forgives a cheating quicker or better, a man or a woman?
I honestly couldn't answer that because I haven't experienced it myself. But from just trying to remember from what I've seen personally, just from personal experience, the few times I've seen it, I'd probably say women, maybe.
Women may forgive? Okay. All right.
Just from what I've seen.
Wow. That's all I can say. So basically, the woman loses out,
Right.
regardless.
I don't even know where to begin or what to say with this segment. We have it's in the man's DNA to cheat.
DNA.
We have that there are different species.
Right brain, left brain. It's just in us.
Women are more forgiving.
Men are animalistic.
Animalistic, right. it's in a woman's nature to just expect certain things from the man.
Because men have been cheating since the beginning
of time.
Women
know most men cheat, so it's all good as long as he's not in love with the woman.
Yeah, and here's the big thing. I am emotionally damaged as a man because the vision, the image of another man penetrating
being inside
my woman. I can't live with that.
Right.
So
because we're external. You're internal. What?
I think one comment even said bros before hoes.
Bros before hoes.
Bros before hoes. My boy is gonna always be my boy. And one interviewee said after he thought about it, I'm not giving up my friend even if I love her.
No matter how much I love her.
No matter how much I love her.
No matter how much.
So
but wait a minute. Didn't somebody say, you gotta respect my boy for coming and telling me?
Right. No. Well, actually, what he said was the only way he would be mad at his boy is if he didn't tell him. If his boy did come and tell him, he would say, "Good looking out." Good looking out.
The two things. It's two things that's major to a man. One being the death of his mother.
Right.
The other being the image of his woman with someone else. I'm like, really?
Right. The worst thing that can happen to a man.
Maybe we're just the stronger species. I don't know.
Okay, right.
Because they act like none of these things bother us.
Right. In fairness to one of the gentlemen I interviewed, he did say that women are perceived as the more, I think his word was tender.
Yeah.
Vessel, but he said the man will actually carry that, into, so even though the man would, he really doesn't have somebody that he could go talk to.
Yeah, he did say that.
So he was like, maybe it is the man who is the more tender vessel and can't hold on to it because he would be as angry 10 years from now as he is the day it happened.
That was a good point.
That was a good point.
What was very good is they all seem to acknowledge the fact that we are very emotional, but that was almost that played against us because it's like, because you guys are more emotional, if you cheat, it's because for us it's just sex. But for you to cheat, it's emotional, so we gotta
which is far worse.
Which is far worse. So we gotta cut you.
Cheating because we physically want to.
We just do that.
Because it goes back to that variety, wanting something.
Well,
different.
because we're different species.
Right. I think it was one that said though that if the man breaks the code, that you should be done with both of them. That was probably more of the intelligent comments that I heard. He said you should be done with the man as well as the woman, because isn't that the definition of a friend?
Right.
To be loyal to you or to each other.
Right.
So that was, and then I think it was one who said that the guy really does care, but he's gonna save face and act like he and the dude are still cool because he don't want them to know that he was caught slipping.
That's what I was gonna say. It was really interesting though. Again, it goes back to ego for the guy, because that interviewee did say, we'll never let them know that they affected us like that. But in reality, it did get us. But and then a few guys said,
I gotta keep it popping for mine try to stray.
and a few guys did say, and I think it was a few of the older guys that we interviewed did say that if they did get, if their guy did get them, there was something slipping in their own game. And that was one of the reasons why I can't be too mad at the guy, because there was obviously something that I wasn't doing for them to be able to get me.
Well, one of the guys made it.
But I'm sorry, Shani, but I just need to say this. But they would still maintain that relationship. Whereas across the board, they would all let that woman go.
They would all let the woman go, and they all knew that the woman would let her best friend go.
Yep.
Right.
Would keep the guy.
That's just what I was about to say.
And what did the one interviewee say about the fact that the woman chose to dismiss the best friend? We didn't ask you to.
We didn't ask you to.
What?
Like,
but that's a good point.
And they don't
women
normally.
do that. Women choose to. Yeah, that's true.
Women choose to.
That's true.